Okay. Okay. It's back now. Um, uh, I don't know. OBS, I'm still dropping frames. OBS just lost connection. Yeah, oh yeah, Connor was really nice. I don't know what's going on here. Why is it being so stupid? Oh, wait, no, hold on. The connection's getting better. Hopefully it'll go back up and it'll be normal. I mean, the laptop's on Wi-Fi, but it shouldn't matter. Because the router is like right there. Maybe Iran is worried about your content. Lol. Maybe. Okay, there we go. Now we're back up. That's better. Okay. Jeez. All right. Hopefully people will come back. Israel to mount lasers to fighter jets and helicopters? Based? That's actually insanely fucking cool. We have no low. Yes, yeah, because we have no low cost intercept options. Remember? Yes, yes, true. I forgot. Yes, obviously. I mean, that's actually like a based as fuck idea, though. Although that's an Israel thing. Anyway, Con Radical sent this my way. He sent this state loopholes. State loophole lets Riley area companies cut $745 million from Wake County property rolls. Ooh. Oh, the U.S. did it first in 1992. Jesus Christ! It's like America just does everyone. I'm sure the U.S. can do it too. Yeah, but will they? That's the real question. Will they? Oh, Hutch isn't streaming today. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's go back to this. Because now I think we're getting into more stuff that I probably am going to be at least somewhat aware of.
It is the specific content of those conversations that is the issue.
And they are
Please don't. I'm sorry, Epic. Oh, Pat, Loner's fine. He's fine. He's just dealing with some personal bullshit. I don't think that it's necessarily stuff that is like, I mean, I'm sure it's impacting him, but I don't, as far as I know, he's fine. He's okay. He's just got some stuff that he's dealing with. And yeah, he's not going to tell us about any of it. Listen, Epic, I'm very sorry, but unfortunately, I have to suffer on behalf for everyone's entertainment. Loner has been arrested by the Scottish police for a haggis conspiracy.
Tough issues. I appreciate your willingness to call balls and strikes. And a lot of folks, frankly, a lot of folks in your world, as we sort of castigate the right-wing media ecosystem, your willingness to call this stuff out. And
this is well, you know, I think that in general.
By the way, I just want to say I actually don't like this. I like, look, I get it, okay? It kind of sucks that Newsom doesn't necessarily push back super hard on these guys, but at the same time, there's something specific that he's trying to accomplish here, which I get, you know. Yeah, I think it's cringe, and I'm not, I don't know. Also, he doesn't even need to necessarily push back really hard on them, but obviously he's trying to appeal to people on the other side. Yes, Chase, I had to restart stream because it died, and it wouldn't reconnect me. Yeah. And I have the thingy set to like to automatically stop the playback, or to automatically end when the stream ends, you know. So far, every narrative presented to you has been misleading or straight misinformation. Yeah, I mean, I was going to do some research about the housing stuff, or about this PG&E shit. There's like a bunch of stuff that has been presented here that that I might yeah. Did you save the Connor talk? I missed most of it. Yeah, it's in my previous VOD. The VOD's there. It's in the VOD playlist. I feel like I should probably start unlisting my VODs. But if Bad Empanada did a video on California politics, oh yeah. Well, if he did a video on California politics, he would say way worse things. Also, I can tell this guy isn't from the state. It bleeds through their perspective. Yeah, probably not. I'm back in time for Lefty Rage Bait. Yes, Chase, you are. There was something else that I was going to watch too, but I think I'll save that for tomorrow because it's not a timely thing. I was actually going to watch some Vosh content, Chase, but you, I feel like it took you such a long time to get here and you didn't say anything in the chat, so I didn't know that you were here. But tomorrow, I'll save that for tomorrow because I am nearing the end of this. So, yeah. And what I should do is, no, don't worry, Chase. We'll still do it tomorrow, I promise. What I should do as well also is I really need to get into the habit of actually editing and making segments out of things after I get done with them each day. Yeah. You can tell because everything they are saying comes from Facebook memes and zero from understanding the politics of the state. Yeah, I'm assuming that the state politics for California is going to be exceedingly complicated as well too. So, tell me about the relationship between Gavin Newsom and PG&E. Please provide sources, news, articles, etc. And yeah, I just wanted to find me some stuff. Although I probably could, you know what? I might actually just research this in my own time. Part of the reason why I've been like leaning on using the Clanker is because it's really fast and it finds me stuff quick. But I think a better place to start probably would just be to go and read PG&E's Wikipedia page and then like roll from there. And if I have questions, then I can ask the Clanker to get me information or whatever. It's as complicated as the politics of the US or Germany. 40 million people live here and we are the world's number 4 economy. Yeah. I mean, I figured that it was. I mean, hell, even the Texas power grid shit was pretty complicated. But the PG&E stuff is just all from conservative attack ads and lefty memes online. It's 99% just lies. Well, I mean, is it true that PG&E was basically being charged for their equipment starting fires? And did they have to give back the stuff? And Newsom did find the fuck out of PG&E. Then energy prices doubled. That's why we changed approach. Okay, I'm assuming, did he find them because of the wildfire stuff? PG&E is literally partially state owned. Okay, yeah. So the way in which that guy is describing it is not really correct then, because he made it sound like they were a private business. But of course, everyone's leaving that out. It's not true in the way he presented it. Okay. What about, he also presented a bunch of shit about backroom deals as well, too, that Newsom was doing with PG&E and how he was going to dinner with their lobbyist and like he was getting into bed with them. And Newsom basically used the bailout money from the, yeah, yes and no, not the way he presented. Okay. Maybe God damn it. I mean, that I'm curious about, because like the way in which this, like, it seems like there's a lot of dumb populists. PG&E is also not fully responsible for the fires in the first place. I wouldn't think that they would be. How the fuck would they be responsible for a campfire? Which is a weird sort of thing. Unless it hit one of their power lines and then it came down and then it made it work. I don't know. It's literally just Facebook memes and GOP attack. Okay. So it's like the Panera Bread shit that Doobie was parroting. Okay.
This is the way, if we want to have a way forward in American politics, just to get a little general here, it has to be predicated on certain basic premises about truth. And that's why I keep saying, forget about, categorization. Is it true or is it not true? I think one of the major failings of the Democratic Party in the last election cycle is
the unwillingness to say whether it was true or untrue that a boy could become a girl.
Well, let me summarize the issue basically. Wait, do you want, I thought you couldn't get on to come into chat to do it. Oh, you're just going to do it in chat. Okay. So PG&E is a partially state-owned energy monopoly, right? Yeah. It seems like it and some other stuff. And they built their power grid in the 1980s, mostly in California. Yes. So what happens is global warming. Yes. Yes. Climate change. And now that infrastructure is failing. Yes. Because it's really fucking hot. Okay. Or really fucking cold, depending on the time of year. And without bailouts, PG&E lacks the capital to modernize it. Yes. Yeah, because, okay. And they're partially state-owned and the government, so the government's gonna throw them some capital so that they can fix their shit. So not giving out bailouts means no power grid upgrades. Okay, yeah. Because I would presume that they probably don't turn much of a profit, or if they do, it's not enough that they could really take it and funnel it into having upgrades. And they probably make just enough money to cover their revenue costs, as is the case with a lot of these kinds of companies, unless they want to like raise the amount of money that everybody is paying for power, which obviously they don't want to do. And not only that, but, there's also going to be lots of different types of community or different types of things, different deals that I imagine they probably have with different groups or different like buildings or whatever. Blaming PG&E for climate change is what? Wait, do people blame PG&E for climate change? PG&E barley is profitable. Oh, it barely is profitable. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that they would be. I'm sorry. Fucking public utilities seem very, don't seem like they'd be particularly profitable. That shit's expensive as fuck to build infrastructure and everything. When we tried to let them fail, PG&E doubled energy prices. Okay, yeah. To pay for those infrastructure upgrades. Ah. So the bailouts were required to prevent that. Okay. Los Angeles produces a lot of natural gas. It supplies Phoenix. Thanks, Project. Thanks, Pat. That's an interesting... That's a very basic summary. Okay. By the way, I would add... Newsom tried to make a state alternative to PG&E. Wait, what was it called? Which one was it? Because there were two other PG&Es or two other two other utilities. And now in some cities like mine, there are now two energy companies. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, that's a basic summary, but it should help highlight how the full shit narrative that he presents. Yeah, it does. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess this video we're 13 minutes into this. I'm gonna speed run my way through the rest of this just to finish watching it. And then I'm probably gonna end it there. And what I'll do is I'll go do some research because I'm curious about what you were saying, Epic. And I'll look into it just because I'm interested. I'm also going to read. I also need to go read about the war in the Donbass too. But yeah.
For example.
Yeah. We just see the world with a different set of eyes on this. I appreciate your sort of intellectual argument and the sort of soundness and the firmness in that space.
I can't help but unpack the relationship to families and people and lives lived and the grace and people's lives that are lost and people that are struggling and going through this. I just, that does shape the way I make policy because it's
not just science, it's art.
Gavin, you are talking to a man who is wearing a cute little hat and had some of the skin on his penis cut off as a baby because a man in the sky he has no evidence for said that he had to. And
Hey, hold on now. Ben's parents had the tip of his penis cut off as a baby. It wasn't Ben who did that. It was his parents. He didn't make that decision.
you are conceding that the concept of transgender people isn't sound, and that you, and by extension the people you represent, are just emotional and can't bring yourselves to tell it how it is, like the intellectual Ben Shapiro can.
That's why
I don't know if he's conceding, but like I don't know. Yeah, sorry, not the tip, the foreskin. The way that he was describing it is silly because it's not really the tip. It's yeah. Yeah, and then if questions or contradictions or curiosity pops up, feel free to DM me on anything, or even we can talk about it sometime. If not, that's fine too. Okay, yeah, sure thing, Epic, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that more later, and then maybe I'll like do some sort of proper like presentation to go back over this or whatever. Yeah. For now, I just kind of want to watch the end of this video as like an initial react, and then maybe I'll do a more polished kind of thing later. I'm still sort of trying to find my way to like how I want to react or how I want to handle it if I'm watching a video and it presents a bunch of information that I don't know if it's true. Not the tip, the sheath, Ella. True. I don't know if that's, and then if I don't know if something is true or not, then I have to figure out how I'm going to do with it, you know? I mean, a botch procedure might do some damage to the tip. Yes, I know. Yes, sometimes that'll happen. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to handle that. If I just want to do research on the fly. Oh, you know what, Arthur? Yes. Stop gooning. Stop it. Yeah, okay. Oh, you put something in stream suggestions that is Russian. It's in Russian. I'm gonna have to read subtitles. How long is this video that you have given me? "19 minutes. Pro-Putin stooge taking on Putin. English subtitle. Pro-Putin stooge taking on Putin. What? Okay. Not gooning. It was funny. It's funny because it's gooning. Cease. Oh, yes. We will cease gooning.
В ночь с 17 на 18...
Oh, right. The night of March 18th, 2026 saw one of the most prominent cogs in Putin's machine
марта сломался
snap.
один из
Okay, this video is longer. You know what? I'm gonna save this for tomorrow because this actually does look interesting. It actually looks quite interesting. This might be fun. Also, you had asked about zoning in California while your last stream crashed. We were the first state in the union to ban single-family zoning, and we do mixed zoning now. The living situation Arthur described, where you walk downstairs into a market, also describes my own living situation in the biggest city in North California. Okay, that sounds pretty fucking based. And all of those thousands of new homes we are building are being built under this new mixed zoning code. So our cities are looking more and more like that every month. Hell yeah. Yeah, I had said that, yeah, like the thing that Arthur described is what I want to see more of, because in Toronto, they had near where I used to live there, we had something like that similarly, where there was like literally a high rise that was built on top of, actually, no, I think it was 2 high rises actually that were built on top of like a shopping center, and it was hella fucking based. And the high rise in question even had like a swimming pool in it, I think, which is also really cool. It was super expensive to live there though. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I am actually going to finish watching this. And then Arthur, I'll watch that other thing that you gave me tomorrow because that sounds really interesting. Now it's funny because confusing the tip with the foreskin is funny. Not everything is gooning. Arthur, true. Gavin Newsom signed the law banning single family zoning and switching to mixed zoning during the first year of his governorship in 2019, and our cities are slowly evolving to look more that way. But of course, it will take a decade or longer because before it's fully realized. Happen to live in the biggest city in the north, and we've been modernizing faster than others. That's pretty awesome. What about my Talmud thing? I don't know. Maybe I'll watch that tomorrow, Arthur. Like how long is the Talmud thing that you linked? $27 minutes. Oh no, Tucker Carlson. Actually, this might be a funny thing to watch, but not right now. Okay. All right, so we've got a bunch of stuff lined up for tomorrow. We've got 3 videos lined up that I can watch and react to. Probably while walking on the treadmill. It's not him, it's his glazer. Yeah, I wait, it's not him, it's his glazer. The Bizarre World of Talmud. Wait, is this like a conspiracy video?
Yeah, I'm seeing it right here. Before the video even begins, I'm banned from banking.
Is this a conspiracy video? Also, who uses horizontal tabs in 2K26 vertical tabs, Delby? Listen, I'm sorry, Arthur, but I can't. I don't like change, okay? And I like my fucking horizontal tabs. Tech people are like vegans when it comes to how you organize your tabs and whether or not you use dark mode. I use dark mode constantly, and I hate people who don't use dark mode. This guy besmirches my microphone. I'm unhappy. No, like, actually, like, Avi, is this a conspiracy video? Like, is this, or is this guy debunking Tucker? He's a neo-Nazi who is somewhat informed on Jewish culture, just enough to reinforce. What? No, I'm not gonna. What the fuck? I'm not gonna watch this. I don't have the knowledge to debunk this, unless you want me to share my screen and watch it with you. Unless you want to wait until Saturday so that you can explain to me how all this stuff is incorrect. I'm not gonna just like, you know, uncritically watch this video that I can't fucking debunk. Okay, well, then we should do this another day because I'm not going to, like, pause it and fucking read chat. If you don't use dark mode, you are literally killing children of cow. True! Who are cute and moo. This is AI of Insomniac versus Doobie. Look at that. That's so fucking based. Except the AI fucked up and didn't draw a puffin correctly, but still. Or Insomniac and Lannis versus Doobie. So Lannis is the lion, and then there's Insomniac and Doobie. What the fuck? Why isn't Doobie a frog? That's really funny, though. That makes sense. I just want you tech people to understand this is like me insisting that if you fly, it must be on a Boeing. Most of you don't care, and having self-awareness to realize that is important. I can make objective arguments for why Boeing makes better airplanes, but ultimately it doesn't matter to most of the flying public. The same goes with dark mode. Don't care, plus didn't ask, plus I don't like it. Also, I don't respect people who own iPhones. Paste. You know what? Entirely understandable. Totally fair. Listen, guys. Oh, if we fly Boeing. Yes, Doobie is supposed to be a frog. This is, actually, you know what this is? It's probably that, they looked at the video of, or like his avatar in the video. And that's where they got this from. But, you know, this is still cute, though. That's so good. I see, Arthur, you're trying to say, however, I will defend iPhones. I will absolutely fuck iPhones. I hate them. Actually, you know what, Arthur? I don't even understand. Why the fuck would you use an iPhone? Oh, wait, it's because you're a fucking disgusting Mac user. That's why you use iPhones. Like, if you're already in the Apple system or the Apple ecosystem, then I guess, like, I can't begrudge you that. But as a power user, I find this to be disgusting and an abomination. iPhones are actually great phones, but the software iOS sucks. And if Apple made an iPhone that ran Android, I would probably buy it. Yeah, me too. I did have to buy an iPad because Apple has a monopoly on all flight apps, which is annoying. Ew. Yeah, that sucks. Listen, this is the reason why I don't like Apple, okay? Either iOS or Mac OS. It's because they think I'm a fucking child and they don't let me do anything. I'm not allowed to customize anything. I can't have any access to the underlying system. It's all like fucking annoying, and it's the software is made for children because they think everybody who uses it is an idiot. And I'm not an idiot, and I'm tired of being treated like a child. It's bad enough that fucking Microsoft does that, but Apple just does it 10 times worse, okay? Apple is like a helicopter parent. I will come in there and fight about Apple being based. I use a OnePlus 15 for my phone, and it's great, huge battery. I'm gonna buy a Pixel 9 for my next phone, but right now I've got a Samsung Epic. I don't. But I don't know. Of course you are of course you're probably using a phone that has that's gigantic. I actually don't like the fact that phones just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I feel like pretty soon we're all just gonna be carrying around fucking tablets in our pockets. It's actually kind of annoying. Can we please go back to when phones had slightly smaller screens? Like, this is the size that I like, okay? But it's also because that I'm a woman and I don't have huge hands. OnePlus 15 is a great deal right now, not gonna lie. I went from a Samsung Galaxy to it simply for the battery and the fact it was cheap. Oh yeah, I know it's not that expensive. Has the biggest battery of any phone. It was cheaper than Samsung. Yeah. Listen, if I get a Google, it's going to be because A, I like stock Android, and B, the cameras are amazing, and it's also going to be nice and fast. Clip it and ship it, boys. Clip it and ship what? I still have trouble typing on these phones. Touchscreens do not mix well. Yeah, I actually don't have a hard time with the typing, but yeah. It just really depends. Also, what is Destiny up to right now? Oh, Epic. Destiny saw that you were on his stream, or Destiny saw that you were talking about him yesterday. He pulled up the clip of you. Google phones are also great. Just FYI, OnePlus has stock Android, but the camera is downgraded for sure. I'm not a tech bro, but my understanding is the way they cut costs is with the camera. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I had a Pixel 2 a long time ago, and holy fuck, I love the camera so much. I really did. It was a really amazing camera. But yeah, working at Best Buy was like a bane on my existence because that I am unable to resist buying dumb tech shit. And like I bought so much stuff with that employee discount. So much stuff. The fact that I would attract the attention of Destiny is baffling to me, but funny nonetheless. Oh, well, it's because that there was like 70 some people watching yesterday when you made those comments, and so somebody clipped it and sent it to him, which I kind of knew was going to happen. Basically, he kind of wanted more examples of what your argument was. The problem that I have was, well, first of all, I was only partially paying attention to that conversation while I let you guys drive the content. But then once I came back into it, it was like, whatever. But the problem that I have was, though, is that I didn't actually hear him make a lot of the arguments that you said he was making because that I don't watch his streams all the time anymore because I don't have time. Because I'm streaming myself, or I'm watching Loner, or I'm doing research, or taking a nap, or whatever. So I usually pretty much only ever, will catch him, like, in the evening or whatever. Or if he's doing a big name event. So I never saw him, for example, talk about the tariffs the way that you described with regards to the Supreme Court or whatever, or like the War Powers Resolution stuff. I didn't see any of that. But if you're saying that, that's why I feel like you could probably talk to him and just explain like what it was that you felt like you had an issue with. The problem is I think the issue lies within his thought process, not within the specific utterances. He has a very poor understanding of U.S. history, but he makes a lot of strong claims that I think in some cases would be informed by a better understanding of history to be less ridiculous. And I think he acknowledges this when he says that he doesn't know much U.S. history, and I think he should go learn more U.S. history. Ah, I see. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely mention that to him. And that's kind of hard to quantify as a specific argument. And it's also not really something I think there is much worth arguing about. Okay, I'm not saying you should like go destroy him in the marketplace of ideas or whatever. Honestly, when he responded to you, he didn't like shit talk you or whatever. He was just like, I kind of wish this guy like expanded more or gave more examples or whatever. And I guess it was just the nature of the clip in question was the thing, I suppose. As opposed to really anything else, you know. But yeah. Oh, I guess, has there been a lot of Stuart this stream? I found a video of a cat crossing the US-Canadian border. No, Stuart did not flee. You say that with Big Ben Shapiro on screen, Kalinda. He is disappointed. I'm trying to decide if I want to watch the rest of this because I feel like I know what a lot of the rest of this is going to be. Like, it's just Gavin trying to make himself more reasonable, and that's the reason why he's talking to people like Ben Shapiro. Minus 20 social shekel score.
You got the, what, 180 IQ? What was it?
No, I do not
You
have
were that
180
kid
IQ.
skipping
It's
an
not even
hour,
180, yeah.
Jesus, I mean, you can read your book to learn more.
I don't understand how Democratic lawmakers have such a hard time with the what is a woman question.
Child welfare involved birthing people. Can you explain to me what this means?
I'm not that familiar with that part of the code.
Why are you dodging the question? It's obviously written with awkward gender-neutral language. It's dumb, but you could just own up to that. The law could just say mother. I don't think that's going to cause any issues for the fraction of a percentage of the population that is pregnant trans men. You know how you have to use a wheelchair?
Yeah, I actually agree. I think the law could just say, like, I don't think it matters. Well, I guess the conclusion here is I thought I did give 2 specific examples, but maybe he disagrees with how I characterized the argument. I don't know where I'd have to go look for the clip of him now. Oh, I mean, somebody might link it in my Discord. No, I think the issue is that the person who clipped it didn't include your argument because it was probably posted, or didn't include the entirety of your argument because there was a whole bunch of it, and they probably just got to the end part. I don't know. They probably clipped out the juiciest part and they missed like the meat of what because you did give 2 examples. You did give a couple of examples. Yeah. And I'd have to go back and listen to the conversation to recall exactly what you said and then make note of it if I was going to go and inform him of it. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll just clip it out and then I'll just send it to him. And if he wants to address it, then he could. Oh, well, if he was responding to a clip and not the whole thing, then it's pointless anyways, I imagine. Yeah. Well, yeah, he usually just responds to stuff that people send to him, right? Because he's not going to be looking for all this stuff himself. And also, he wanted to watch the Nick Shirley video, where Nick Shirley comes to the great state of California and discovers all of your fraud. Because that's the thing that happened, and it was painful. It was basically just him walking around California, or specifically walking around Los Angeles, and going to like daycares and hospice places and harassing the people who own them, and then being recognized by those people and like assuming because they don't want to talk to him that they must be committing fraud. Oh, and also pointing out that there were a lot of rich people cars in the parking lot of these hospice places. And assuming that they must belong to the owners who were who bought them with their stolen fraud money, you know, as opposed to maybe those are the clients. Maybe those rich people cars belong to people who like had a relative in hospice care. Oh yeah, and he seemed to have some weird problem with the fact that all of the hospice care center, or a bunch of the hospice care centers in fucking Los Angeles, the city of angels, had like weird like angel like things in their names because they're located in Los Angeles, the city of angels. So of course, when you're located in fucking LA, you're probably gonna call your hospice care like Angels Gateway or Care of the Angels or shit like that, you know, because that's just kind of how it works. Because like people do be like that. Huh. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm sure that in New York City, there's probably lots of places that name their shit something Big Apple. This might shock you, but in San Francisco, a lot of the hospitals also have Asian themes. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, you know, Jesus.
Do you think that for all of our laws going forward, we shouldn't call them sidewalks and we should come up with some different name because some people can't walk?
We should keep the name for what it is and not change it just because people want to change it.
So you think that you wouldn't have an issue using a sidewalk just because it's called a sidewalk?
Right.
Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities.
Honestly, this is like a fair answer. I think it's kind of weird that people make such a big deal about this, but the problem is there's actually, unfortunately, a segment of the woke left who would hate what this guy's, like, the point this guy made is entirely fair.
But, what the fuck? Every time I come over here, you only gotta take me through this homosexual rigmarole, man, with your terminology, man. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes-no questions like this are a political tool.
Yes, they are a political tool, and you're letting him hammer you over the head with it over and over again. Just say no. He said biological men. Biological men can't get pregnant. They don't produce eggs. If you open any dictionary in the world, you will see many words have multiple definitions. Woman, an animal which has a cluster of biological characteristics associated with the ability to bear a child. Woman, a person that identifies with and displays a cluster of traits typically associated with biological womanhood, often including, but not limited to, femininity, grooming and clothing practices, and communication style.
Put this on, right now. I know it sounds strange, but you have to do it. Please hurry.
The party of Be a Man pretends they can't comprehend the concept that you don't embody a gender simply by having certain genitals.
My message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're
a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive.
I don't want Gavin to take some ridiculous stance that actually a trans woman is just a type of biological woman. I would actually say his response here is fine if he were just some moderate Democrat podcaster trying to have civil discussion.
I thought, you know what, this guy just was murdered. His whole side is grieving him. People are terrified. They don't need to hear that I detested many of his views. They can just hear that I disagree with him.
But if you want to be president, I want a more firm defense of transgender people, considering they're losing their ability to drive a car and vote. Don't pretend like these grifters are genuinely concerned.
Are you going to talk about his legislative record?
About Blair White going into a woman's bathroom, as if there's a single bathroom in the whole country where someone is standing out front checking the gender on your driver's license. Gavin had the same issue with Gaza.
Israel did not commit a genocide in Gaza. There's no standard by which Israel committed a genocide in Gaza, just on a factual level.
Just as a legal and factual level.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of this?
My opinion is I understand the tendency for people to make that, to assert that.
Why?
On the basis of the images and the proportionality.
As it relates to genocide.
No, and by the way, I agree with you.
And international and proportionality doesn't mean that if you kill my child and I then kill 7 criminals, that I've been disproportionate.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think but I understand that tendency.
Wait, is that BB? It looks like him, but I never see him laughing and smiling.
On the basis of trying to reconcile the proportionate nature of how the war was ultimately conducted.
I have a question. I don't need him to use the word genocide. I do need him to not frame the issue as just the Democratic voter base being emotional because they saw videos on social media. And I want him to say more than just, I condemn Netanyahu along with Hamas, because
there was a dehumanization. I didn't like the way he talked about the Palestinian people. I just didn't.
What is the specific?
They can't govern. I didn't. The specific. I don't want to get into the details.
The reason I'm asking is because when you suggest that he is conflating Hamas and the Palestinians,
he wasn't
of course
conflating.
it does lead to the conclusion.
They were different. It wasn't. No.
Before there were any hostages taken on October 7th, Israel was stealing Palestinian land they had under military occupation. The absolute bare.
Wait. October 7th, the beginning of time, most humane war in history. Trump brings peace. Oh, he's doing the history didn't start on October 7th shit. Bibi is really making the old tropes seem plausible to people now. Yeah, unfortunately. Yes, everything is aesthetics now. I like how Newsom has the objectively correct take here, but everyone freaks out because it looks like it's somehow conceding to Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
Taken on October 7th, Israel was stealing Palestinian land they had under military occupation. The absolute bare minimum in terms of both morals and political effectiveness would be to say that the US's financial support of Israel must be made dependent on them immediately following a strict set of demands that would drastically change their conduct. But
in what way is... What's the strict set of demands, though? It really depends on what that would mean and what you mean by, like, what part of their conduct would change, because that matters. It matters how insanely stupid you're going to go. And if you're going to change and what does that mean? That's so vague.
Gavin doesn't even put forward that half step in the right direction. Instead, he lets Shapiro keep steering the conversation back to a focus on the uncontested point that Hamas is bad and how unacceptable it is that anyone...
But that's not an uncontested point, though. Sure, it's like Gavin doesn't contest that point, but unfortunately, there's a lot of fucking idiots who are on your side of the political aisle who do contest that point. Who do think that, or who make a fuck ton of excuses for Hamas.
Would say Israel's committing a genocide.
After 20 months, there is a growing understanding in Israel.
Anyone would say Israel conversation back to a focus on the uncontested point that Hamas is bad and how unacceptable it is that anyone...
Oh, look at the little AK true.
Would say Israel's committing a genocide.
After 20 months, there is a growing understanding in Israel by many former leaders of the army, the Mossad, the Secret Service.
War crimes isn't the same as genocide, by the way, Thomas.
generals, almost everyone says that we have done everything that we can do in a military operation. This is becoming like a private war of the prime minister trying to somehow escape from the possible ramifications of ending the war now because of political considerations. There are other voices in Israel, not just a messianic group of thugs which support the government, but that the majority of the Israelis think that enough is enough.
There is no such thing as a reasonable and well-informed Trump supporter at this point. But on domestic policy, Ben Shapiro is about as close as you can get. He basically admits that Trump attempted a coup, but he thinks it's fine because it didn't work. So voting for him was still the right thing to do. We are a year into this unconstitutional president's second.
Ben Shapiro is such a hack because of that. Like, they're just kindergarten. Yeah, true. Kindergartens. Oh my God, I fucking love that whole sketch.
Term. And Newsom still thinks Democrats need to placate conservative thought leaders. We need to grant as much legitimacy to the concerns they highlight as possible.
I mean, unfortunately, these people are half the country, and right-leaning people, you have to win like some number of independents if you want to win an election. You can't just placate to your fucking base. Why is it these people don't get this? I don't understand. What kind of fantasy land do they live in? I guess, is that why you guys never win any elections? Because you don't understand this? Like, Jesus Christ. We're not talking about placating to the 20% or the 25% of the country that is like Trump's hardcore mega base. We're talking about placating to people who are in the middle or conservative leaning independents. Those people, you know, those people exist, by the way, like, or even just independents in general, really, because independents can be all over the place on things. Like, they do in fact exist.
Someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. When they go low, we go high.
He'll debate Ron DeSanctimonious because it's seen as normal to be adversarial with another politician.
It's a ginned-up, made-up issue to divide this country. You talk about dividing this country.
Also, this was quite a while ago, too. Like, I think this was before, wasn't Ron DeSantis's debate with Newsom? I actually haven't watched that. I feel like it would be interesting to watch that. But, I think this was before he started talking to Kirk and stuff. Independent voters outnumber Democratic and Republican voters combined. Yeah, I know they do. They're like 40%. They're like 45% of the country or something. They don't just exist. They are the, you have to win them. You have to win like a chunk of that group if you want to win that with the presidency. You can't just appeal to your fucking base. That's not how this works. And yeah, you know, you should have a Democrat who's a fighter. But I feel like Newsom has like shown himself to be that kind of person when it comes to dealing with the insanity of Donald Trump and like his authoritarian garbage, which is what matters. But that doesn't mean that like he needs to do that with conservatives, because unfortunately stuff like the trans sports issue is like that's not an issue that Democrats are necessarily going to win on. To be fair, what, Arthur? What do you mean? What's to be fair? Newsom didn't have to win them to be governor of California, but that's why his presidential run looks different than his gubernatorial. Yeah, of course. Appealing to the right-wingers is really code to allow for rightward drift. That's what these people say. It's the Russian negotiation strategy. But your country is different than America, though, Arthur. Like, your country has, like, different problems. And also, at the end of the day, if Russia were to become a democracy, then you would have to, then, like, you're still going to have conservatives. It's just those conservatives are going to look different than the kind of conservatives that exist in Russia now, you know? Like that's just going to be the way, like you're always going to have liberals and conservatives in a society. And people like this guy want the Democrats to act like they can just write off all of the more right-leaning people and just say, fuck it. By Russian, I mean Soviet. What? Okay. Oh. The modern GOP is very Russian coded. Also, calling Democrats who aren't progressives and independents right-wing is a dramatic misunderstanding of US politics. Yeah, I mean, that's the other problem. Like, Wait, is the modern GOP very Russia? I mean, some of it is. I feel like Donald Trump is, just because he's got that super, like, he really wants to, I feel like Trump looks at Putin and he thinks, yeah, it'd be hella based. I want to be like that guy, you know, with, like, the rich dude with all of his oligarch friends, and like, and all of his minions have like own portions of his assets or whatever, so he can divvy it up between them and all this kind of bullshit. Like, I'm sure that Trump probably thinks that's hella cool, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like, I'm sorry, most Democrats are still center-left liberals, and you kind of have to placate to them. Yeah, I know Trump is the modern GOP, unfortunately. The modern GOP is not Russian-coded at all, and I'm begging Europeans to stop projecting and start trying to learn how the U.S. Oh, no, well, Pat's not European. Don't you think that the modern GOP is, or that, like, I guess, what about Trump himself? Because Trump seems like he really likes that oligarchical shit. Most Americans are center-left. Yeah, I can...
This is part of the culture war, the weaponization of grievance. But the right-wing media ecosystem that has been proven to knowingly lie and bust people to protest the peaceful transfer of power, you must show them grace. I need Newsom to consistently not present himself as younger, edgier Biden. After Trump's first term, a certain response was needed from the next president to prevent someone like him coming to power again.
We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
Biden and Kamala saw this landscape where conservatives had abandoned all principles and even basic reality.
Losing money costs you nothing.
Biden's response was to
losing money costs you nothing. Oh, Trump is Jacksonian. The online mind virus infection. It turns out the U.S. has its own history. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. Wait. So it was. I understand that Trump is Jacksonian, but like, did Andrew Jackson do like crazy corrupt shit with like other rich people, where he was basically like trying to be like oligarchical and shit? Yeah, I know Trump calls himself Jacksonian, but yeah. Turns out Trump's inspiration came from our history and not Germany or Russia. Shocking. I think it's quite different to make these projections as comparisons. Okay. Oh, okay. If Jackson actually did do that, then all right. Okay.
Be a president for all Americans and restore the soul of the country. Don't push to quickly prosecute Trump's crimes. Don't discredit the right-wing media.
The brown M&M has, quote, transitioned from high stilettos to lower block heels. Also less sexy.
And don't disrupt the status quo.
Bro, you thinking that Gavin Newsom is going to be like Biden is kind of ridiculous, given the redistricting shit. Like, that whole thing would set him apart. That was like an insanely good fight back response that he has had to the just because that he's willing to talk to people like Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, who he probably saw as like regular conservatives, and who a lot of Americans see as regular conservatives, in order to say like, hey, I can still talk to the other side because Americans value bipartisanship still, doesn't mean that he's not going to fight back against the insanity of MAGA.
Too much.
I'm not going to change anything in any fundamental way.
The hope was that conservatives would moderate, seeing how reasonable Biden was, and the left would be happy with some incremental improvement and long-term investments. And the strategy failed, because reality does not matter to conservative media. Kamala wasn't moderate.
She's a Marxist, communist, fascist.
Biden wasn't less corrupt than Trump. Look at the Biden crime family. The censorship at an industrial scale. The open borders agenda used so non-citizens and illegal aliens can vote for Democrats. All of these things are either blatant lies or distorted so far beyond the kernel of truth they contain that they might as well just be lies. It did not matter how much Biden tried to appeal to some imaginary...
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Biden was wrong because the Republican Party is garbage. And I guess, and like nobody kind of realized that or whatever. But that doesn't mean that there are not still like normal, like people who are right leaning who value, and that doesn't mean that Americans overall don't value bipartisanship. You know, maybe we can say that's cucked or lame, but they do.
Median voter. Conservatives didn't perceive it because their media just drew whatever caricature of Biden they wanted. It was a mistake to try to appeal to them. Trump got millions more votes in 2024 than he did in 2020 because any bad thing he's ever done can just be erased with revisionist history.
What kind of a man is Donald Trump?
First, I would say a family man. That's number one.
Or justified, because it's entirely possible that the Democrats are just as corrupt. They're just better at hiding it. All his convictions were just based.
Wait, what do you mean? Give me some example. What are you talking about, Arthur? Examples of what? Also, thank you, Epic. I'm going to read more about Jackson. Where is the reward for bipartisanship and punishment for partisanship? What, punishment of partisanship? No, I'm not. I'm talking. Listen, I think that's cucked. Okay, I think it's stupid that Americans right now still think that bipartisanship is good and they still want their leaders to like compromise and cooperate with each other because one side is full of insane people. But that's not how a lot of Americans see it, because the average American isn't like fucking terminally online, obsessed with this shit in the same way that we are. Is there not polling that shows that most Americans prefer, like, want bipartisanship or want people to compromise? I'm going to put a winky link in your stream suggestions. I strongly suggest you even now just skim through the section that says Andrew Jackson. All right, fine. It's time to fact check myself. If there is poll, yeah, that's what I mean. And everybody has always said that Americans like this. So you know what? It's time to fact check myself. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're about to find out in real time that I am incorrect. We will see what the clanker has to say. What does it find? I told it to pull up some polling data for me. The Canadian and European mind struggles to understand what we even mean by bipartisanship, and it shows. Is bipartisanship not like the two parties cooperate? Like the Langford bill, that was a bipartisan bill. It was a border bill that was authored by both a Republican and I think it was authored by a Republican, but Democrats and Republicans both came together to work on it, and it was going to take Democrats and Republicans to pass it. Or like the effort to get the Epstein files released, that was also bipartisan. Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna came together to work on that. That I thought, is that not what bipartisan means? No, that's not what it means. Wait, what does it mean? What the fuck? Your language is demonstrating the error? Or is that just compromise? We have two coalitions. It's about parts of those coalitions working together, not the whole entity. Oh, okay. Well, wait, isn't that like basically what I said? I mean, in the case of Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna working together, that was like the populist wing of the two coalitions coming together to get the Epstein files released. The whole two-party system is a misunderstanding in and of itself. Americans want the moderated of both coalitions to work together. Okay. Not the entire two parties. Big difference. Right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that because because both parties are big and they have a lot of they've got like they have different like caucuses and coalitions that exist within them. Yeah. There is no both parties. Wait, well, how do we literally don't have two parties in the US. We have 100. Yeah, okay. I know you've mentioned this before. That essentially that the Democratic and the Republican parties are basically actually like a whole bunch of coalitions, or a whole bunch, not coalitions, a whole bunch of smaller groups, like a whole bunch. They have a bunch of smaller groups that exist within them. Oh, Pat's like, what the fuck are you on about? I feel like nobody has actually like heard this idea before. It's kind of an interesting way. And it being glossed over is so so often is causing serious issues all the time in these conversations. I think that the fact that that like the argument that's often made about Democrats is that the Democrats are a big tent party, and therefore you don't have to like basically pass like, and so that party has room in it for a far left progressive coalition, or a far left coalition, a progressive coalition, oh, I'm sorry, the Democratic coalition, the federal Democratic Party. It's a war in purple states, man. The California Democratic Party, the New York Democratic Party, those are no. I know. I was talking about the federal one. Although I guess that those are the yeah, the coalition is a big tent, like all coalitions are. Okay, well, right now, the Republican coalition doesn't seem to be as much of a big tent because everybody who hates Trump has been pushed out of the coalition. Or like, or rather, I guess like you're allowed to be in the Republican coalition, but there is one purity test that you must pass, and that is that you must worship the ground that Donald Trump walks on. And unless like, except for like in a few circumstances, I guess, or a few cases. But it seems like for the majority of the Republican coalition, that's the case. The Republicans that are anti-Trump have been forced into silence, but they still exist in the Congress. Yeah, that's true. They do. There's just not, I feel like there's just not as many of them anymore, or a lot of them are just retiring. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are two of them. Mitt Romney left. Some others of them have left. Thomas Massie is like, he's like more of a populist. Notice how Trump can't abolish oh yeah, okay, no, I know. You're right. It's not a monolith. The way that I was expressing that is incorrect. Yeah. They refuse to support a lot of his agenda, but they won't stand up and like oppose like things that he does that they really, really, or like certain things that he does or whatever, that he doesn't agree with. But they're not all yes men for him. But the problem is that they're also too cowardly to like actually stand up to him properly. Yeah, they won't verbally oppose him, or they won't call to impeach him, even though like at least some, because I don't think the Republican establishment actually really even likes Trump that much, but they're too cowardly to say anything, so they won't verbally do it. But obviously, behind closed doors, they don't want to abolish the filibuster or pack the Supreme Court. What are the things Trump really wants to remove the filibuster for? He wants to remove it to have the SAVE Act passed, Arthur, which is his insane fucking voter ID / voter or election security bill that would bring like a bunch of shit related to elections under the control of the federal government and ban mail-in voting and like essentially like subordinate the states to the federal government. It's absolutely fucking insane. But they don't have the votes to pass it, so they'd have to nuke the filibuster to do it. And most of the Republicans are not willing to do that. Yeah, he does. He does want to control elections, and the SAVE Act would be a means for him to do that. But there's not enough. He doesn't have the votes to overcome the filibuster, to overcome filibusters. So he just wants to get rid of the filibuster. But Republicans don't want to do that, which is understandable, because that when you become the minority, you don't fucking want to lose the filibuster, or like the filibuster is a useful tool for you, and they all know that. Hold on. Okay. So this polling data is quite mixed. In January 2025, AP Norc found explicit bipartisan demand for both parties to compromise. 81% said Republicans in Congress should compromise to get things done. 78% said the same about Democrats. Their top line also shows this was very similar to January 2023. 78% for Republicans, 79% for Democrats. But then we also have this. Pew shows the compromise is good, but mostly the other side should do it effect. In 2019, majorities in both parties said compromise is important in principle, but only 41% of Republicans and 48% of Democrats said it was very important for officials in their own party to compromise. So yeah, it's like in 2025, 71% of Republicans said it was very important for Democratic officials to compromise. Well, only 39% said that about Republican officials. 78% of Democrats said it was very important for Republicans to compromise, or for Republican officials to compromise, versus 46% for Democratic officials. Pew's 2023 findings explains this. Only 15% of Americans. So yeah, I mean, the confidence in Congress is pretty low, and they don't like it. It seems like Americans like the idea of compromise, but in practice, that doesn't necessarily mean that they want it or whatever, or that they, yeah. I'm going to say if the Save America Act comes to a vote and fails, the filibuster will be gone, and $10 will say it with me. The thing is that it won't come to a vote unless they have the votes to pass it, though, is probably what I think would happen. Like, I'm not right now. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and I don't know if Thune would bring it up for a vote. I'm not even sure if Thune even, like, that's the other thing too, is that they don't all support it either, because a lot of Republicans care about states' rights. If Arizona hadn't been run by normies at the very top, the results would have been tampered with. Our state legislature is insane. Oh yeah, I can believe that. Anyway.
Prosecutions. It wasn't a coup attempt, it was a guided tour, and any violence was caused by the FBI deep state. Trump wasn't best friends with Epstein, he hated him. He was acting as an FBI informant to bring Epstein to justice.
It will not come to a vote because they don't have the votes, and they won't have the votes because the Republican Party isn't the unitary entity that you guys pretend it is. I don't think the Republican Party is a unitary entity. They are not a monolith. I think that that was one of the main things that I learned when I did that research a long ass time ago. For that essay that I wrote, where I asked the question, how successful have the religious right been at the federal level at getting their shit passed? And the answer has been not very successful at all, because the Republican Party is not a monolith. They are more successful at the state level. There are some things happening that you guys are really not understanding. If ending the filibuster and passing the SAVE Act came to a vote, around 10 Republicans in the entire state would support it. I actually haven't looked into like what we're, wait, Epic, do you know that for sure? Because I don't like, have Republicans even come out and voiced their support or lack thereof for the SAVE Act, like specific Republicans? Trump has way less support in Congress than you guys think he does. And while Trump has been able to bully people out of criticizing him publicly within the Republican coalition, that's different. Yeah, oh yeah, Trump's been able to silence his coalition. Yeah, you're right, but he can't necessarily get votes. That's why the one big beautiful bill was like the one thing that he was able to, that he managed to do, but he can't get other votes. Rand Paul has voted against almost every single thing Trump has attempted to achieve. If you actually look at the way the Senate votes, you'll find that this is objectively true. You know what? I will look into that later, because that actually would be a really good thing to point out. Currently, Rand Paul leads a coalition of around 9 libertarians in the Republican coalition in the Senate that has been pushing back against Trump's terrorist agenda and the war in Iran. Okay. Hi, buddy. And he leverages his cult to intimidate the ones he can. Yeah. How effective was Trump in preventing the Epstein files from coming to a vote? His own party bypassed him, and through an exceptionally rare mechanism to bypass the speaker, something that has only happened a few times in all of U.S. history. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, he wasn't able to do it. So much so that he realized that he wasn't able to, and so he threw up his hands and said, "Fine, I don't care, just do it," because he couldn't win on that front. And like his and like sure, like Kevin McCarthy was a or is his sycophant, so that's why he's basically willing to, you know, do all that. But yeah, the Iran issue is too far for half of them. Yeah. I mean, they weren't able to bring the War Powers resolution up for a vote, though, unfortunately, or at least I think that was in the House. In the House, the Trump has far more crazy sycophants because that there are a lot more loony people who can get elected to Congress because there's more like House representatives, is my understanding. But yeah, in the Senate, senators are different, and they've been there for longer, and you're not going to find as many loons in the Senate. At least not like, you know, insane mega supporter people or whatever. Okay. Yeah, we have like gone so far off the beaten path. So you know what? Maybe I will try that again later, but yeah, I'm just going to end it there for now. Because yeah, like you know, sorry about the stream crash. I'm not going to watch the video right now, Mina. There's only like 23. I would rather wait until I have a bigger audience. I'll watch the video tomorrow. Don't worry. I have it open. It's here. I'm going to watch that. I've got like this, and I've got this, and I've got this. Well, I don't know if I'm going to watch this or not. Because I don't. Yeah. I don't really want to fucking platform insane conspiracy theories about Jews unless somebody is going to be here to help me, like, tell me that they're wrong. And I've also got this Vosh video for tomorrow, too. So I got, like, 4 things to watch. And tomorrow we're going to go over the news. Thanks for the stream. Hold on. What, Arthur? What do you want? You're not going to find any loons in the Senate because they've been there for longer. I wonder if that's why we have a Senate something Alexander Hamilton something cooling out. Yeah, I know, because the senators are more junior. Why can't the Senate abolish the filibuster for this specific thing? Because if you get rid of it, then like you've gotten rid of it. I don't, because they can't do that. Actually, my guess is that they're probably the reason why they don't want to nuke the filibuster. They probably could do that, but they don't want to, because then they would all have to deal with actually having to have a vote on it, and they don't want to deal with that because then they don't want to deal with like Trump harassing them and all of that other shit. You know, Trump does not have the votes in the Senate to enact most of his agenda. Yeah. They can, Arthur, but most people in the Senate don't support it, which is the point. Yeah, and it's a nice dodge to say, no, we don't want to get rid of the filibuster in order to pass this. So we're just not going to have a vote on it because the filibuster. And then they don't have to deal with it. It's kind of like a simple sort of thing. Nuclear option has already been used twice to chip away the filibuster, not get rid of it entirely. Yeah, I know. That was a thing that happened. The nuclear option occurred, I believe that happened in order to get one of Trump's judicial nominees to a hearing, or to a confirmation hearing, or to a vote. I think that was something that occurred. If I recall correctly, that was after like the 2018 midterms. I think when the Democrats gained more control, or they gained the House, but they didn't have the Senate. Yeah, the Republican majority Senate. Yeah. I'm expecting a force the vote style campaign from the GOP nationally. Maybe, but that doesn't mean that they'll fucking do it. But then again, like, who the fuck knows? I don't know how many Americans actually care about passing the SAVE Act. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. I very much doubt that it's actually that popular. It's probably just only popular among the hardcore Republican base. I don't know if the GOP is that self-defeating and retarded. Yeah, probably not. Because that's like a huge different thing. Wait, did that Joe Kent guy go on Tucker Carlson? Wait, did he? Oh, Jesus Christ. That might be maybe interesting, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe another time, you guys. Maybe another time. Maybe. We'll see if that becomes a thing at some point in the future. I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch that or not. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. I will see you all later. Yeah. Anyhow. Bye. Yeah, thank you, Fellrunner. Bye, guys.